Hey, what's going on guys? James and Simon here, and a few months ago, Modmark confirmed on the forums that the XP weekends were being rethought and they were going to remove the bonus XP weekends, which is kind of a shame, isn't it, Simon?
Yeah, no, it's a little bit disappointing that they are going to be removing bonus XP weekends, but they said they're going to be working in bonus XP in other areas. Obviously, since then, we've had stuff like Pendants of Skill and various things. Hopefully, that's not what they were referring to in terms of the bonus XP. Hopefully, it's not Squeal of Fortune, kind of things like that. But maybe it's just more one-off weekends like they did with like when they had Triple Slayer XP Day. They were actually quite exciting, quite fun, and the way that everyone's doing the same skill, even though it can get quite crowded, it's just kind of, I know you sort of focus a bit more on one skill. It's kind of nice that everyone's doing the same thing. Plus, there's sometimes less time pressure on when they have things like the bonus XP rewards, like Mad Maze Necklace and stuff like that, just because you can do whatever you want rather than having to have to be there on that weekend. Because I know with James, you've always been away, haven't you?
Yeah, I'm,
So.
I'm always away randomly whenever there's one of these good things. Regardless, we thought today we'd make a video of all the good XP boosts you can gain around RuneScape that aren't related to the bonus XP weekend or aren't the bonus XP weekend. So what do we have to kick it off, Simon?
Right, so kicking it off, obviously there is the Penance Horns. This is one that a lot of people use. It's one of the most popular in the game. It does give a 100% XP boost, so it doubles your XP. Now it can be used in 3 skills. That's Agility, Mining, or Fire Making. So this is obviously the horn that you get from the Barbarian Assault. When you do Barbarian Assault, you can choose to either get reward tokens that you can buy rewards like your fighter torso, your fighter hat, or you can choose to charge a Penance Horn. You can make it a Master Penance Horn so it can hold more charges. Now, it depends on which skill you're doing as to whether this is worth it or not. Regardless, though, of the skill, you'd have to say overall it's worth it if you enjoy doing Barbarian Assault, because even on things like fire making, the XP rates are around the same whether you either do Barbarian Assault and then get the double XP on fire making, or whether you just do fire making on its own. But you save a bit of money, for example, because you obviously get double XP on fire making, which costs money, so it can be worth it for that. Mining is slightly faster because it lasts about 1.2 mil XP for the horn, which is quite a significant amount of XP if you fully charge it. But then again, it can take about 4 to 5 hours to recharge, depending on how good your team is. With agility, it's a little bit less than mining, usually between 1 and 1.2 mil XP, again with that 4-hour charge, but agility is a slower skill. So again, overall, if you actually do the maths behind it, definitely worth it for agility and mining, although then you do have to consider Barbarian Assault isn't AFK, mining is AFK, so there's a bit of a toss-up. Personally, I used it for agility, didn't use it for mining, and I used it for a little bit of fire making before I realised that I hated agility more. So you can kind of play it off as to which ones you find more annoying, but Penance Horn is definitely one of the standout sort of best ones out there in the game at the minute.
So next up we have these Sacred Clay tools. Now, I don't really know too much about these, so unfortunately, Simon, you've got to explain these as well.
Right, the Sacred Clay tools, obviously that's from the Stealing Creation. So as you do games of Stealing Creation, usually you get about 20 points around, and 20 points will pick you up a Sacred Clay tool. Now these Sacred Clay tools, you can either get the Morphic ones, where you can choose to create it into any tool you want, and it'll give you a 100% XP boost for a certain amount of XP. Or you can get the volatile tools. They give 120% XP boost. However, not only can you not choose what tool it goes into, so you just have to do whatever skill it gives you, but I believe it's every 10% of the degradation that it goes down, which is quite often, really, because you don't get too much XP out of each tool. Then I'll actually randomly change into another one. So they're really not worth getting. I really don't advise it unless you've not got any of these skills in 99 and you want to use it all the way. But again, you'd be doing a lot of Stealing Creation. It'd be really depressing. So Stealing Creation can be okay. I'd advise doing one of the sort of boosting clan chats where you basically don't fight each other, even though it can be a bit more sort of boring when you're not fighting each other and not actually playing the game properly. You do actually get the points faster. You get more tools per hour. Now, it can be worth it if you're, say, not very well off in RS, and so you don't have the money to do stuff like smithing and construction. The hammer is one of the standout tools. I really wouldn't advise doing stuff like fletching, because it's only a fletching knife that you can have. You can't do all forms of fletching. You can only do stuff like crafting bows. It's the same with hunter. You only have a hunter net, so you can only really go ahead and catch butterflies and imps and things like that. It's not just a whole skill that you can use it on. Stuff like a wood cutting axe, obviously you can use it on anything in the game, but again, you're probably better off using a dragon hatchet because it's only really equivalent to a rune hatchet, and because of that, obviously if you're using a dragon one, it is a little bit faster in terms of getting the wood. Obviously you don't get as much XP, but it is one of those toss-ups. Things like fishing, again, it's only a harpoon. You can't really do net fishing or rod fishing, so some of them are good, some of them are bad. The standout ones there that people use the most are stuff like smithing, construction. It's the hammer, it's the same tool as well, which is kind of nice. It lasts about 64k XP for smithing and 50k for construction. So because you can pick one of those up pretty quickly in one game, then it can be worth doing, especially if you, as I said, don't have the money. Other ones, again, not so good, but it's just one of those personal choice matters.
So next up we've got the goldsmithing gauntlets. Now these can be obtained after completing the family crest quest. You can turn them into goldsmithing gauntlets for 25k, and they offer a 150% XP boost when you smith gold ores into gold bars. Now there are two ways you can smith gold ores into bars. You can do it on a furnace. Most people do this in Edgeville. You'll see people there quite a lot. Or you can do it using this superheat spell.
Yes, it's a really cheap and sort of fairly efficient way to get smithing XP. Not the best smithing XP in the game, but because it is so cheap, gold ores are cheap, you can sell the bars for only a small loss, and you're getting this super bonus XP. 150% really is quite amazing. It's a very common training method, so definitely one to go for there. Now, next up, we have ones that you'll see all around RuneScape. They're spread across quite a lot of number of skills, and it's the 2.5% XP suits. Now, they're not actually called this. Obviously, they go by different names. Say for the woodcutting, you've got stuff like Lumberjack that you get from doing the temple trekking. That's what it's called. Nearly forgot it there. Now, for each of these different suits, some of them are worth getting, some of them are not. Stuff like temple trekking, if you're going to do stuff like the Mauritania hard task, you're going to have to do that a lot anyway, so you'll pick up the suit over time. So it's definitely worth getting those tasks out of the way first to get the suit before you get 99 woodcutting if you're trying to max out your account. Things like the fishing, again, you'll pick them up as you do the sort of newly revamped fish fillingers activity. Definitely worth picking up because obviously not too many points to get. It doesn't take too long to get, and the bonus fishing XP is really good. Now, the ones that you have to say definitely avoid: rune crafting, 60k GOP tokens. GOP is the Great Orb Project. That literally, even if you're getting 200 million experience, it's not worth doing. You've wasted too much time in that mini game that it's not worth buying the suit. That's how bad it is. Avoid that. Thieving used to be horrendous because not only does the outfit, the Black Ibis, not work in Pyramid Plunder, but the drop rates were so rare that you basically couldn't get it. I got one piece on the way to 99. Now they've actually increased the rate, so you should be able to get them all just in a few mil experience. But again, it doesn't actually work at Pyramid Plunder or the other really good XP rate things. So one of those things that probably isn't worth getting. Construction, you get it from doing the temple tracking again, so you should be able to pick that up quite easily. And it's still a 2.5% bonus, which is quite nice on an expensive skill like construction. Mining, it's quite good because the actual way you obtain it is doing the lava flow mine.
It's AFK.
It's quite AFK, as James said. So you can do that quite easily. You just sort of think, well, even though it's not the best XP rates, I could get better XP maybe mining some concentrated gold or coal. Then you might as well just stick around there for a few hours. It can take probably up to about 10 to 15 hours.
The good thing to do with that is to get it before you get level 80, so when you're going to do concentrated coal anyway. And it's a good thing to get before you get level 80 for the gold.
Absolutely. So again, not the best XP rates while doing it, but once you've got it, then you've got that bonus XP all the way to 99. It's just really, really good.
All right, next up, we've got the Beacon Network rewards. Now, from this, you get 3 things, of which 2 things add up to the best reward. You get the Flame Gloves, the Flame Ring, and the Fire Ring, and the Inferno Adzi. So the 2 things you use for fire making boost are the Flame Gloves and the Flame Ring, or Fire Ring. And it's actually really good. They give a 5% skill boost when both worn. You have to wear them to do your fire making. All you got to do is wear it and you get 5% boost. Saves you a good chunk of money, depending on how you're doing your fire making, so definitely worthwhile.
Yeah, and the Inferno Adzi obviously is an extra reward now, although this doesn't actually give a bonus XP as such. What it actually does is when cutting logs off a tree, not ivy, it doesn't work for ivy, when cutting logs off a tree, it'll actually have a 1 in 3 chance to literally burn up the log as you cut it. So the instant that you cut it, you also burn it for the full amount of fire making XP that log gives. So even though it's not technically bonus XP, you actually get XP without wasting any game ticks. So in theory, you are getting free XP in the fire making skill. So if that's something you want to do, you can train on things like Arctic Pines all the way up to 99. It's the fastest woodcutting XP in the game, and you'll pick yourself up a good few mil fire making XP doing that as well, which is always nice. Okay, so next up we've got the Fist of Guthix rewards. Now there's a variety of rewards from this. Mainly are the runecrafting gloves, which are really quite bad because they only work for air runes, water runes, and earth runes, which nobody crafts for XP anyway. So getting double XP in that doesn't even make it good. So definitely not worth doing because the recharge times them is a bitch. Again, fishing, the swordfish gloves and shark gloves. Again, they give nice XP boosts, I have to say, but the recharge time is just too much. It's not worth doing, and there's faster ways of getting fishing XP other than swordfish and shark regardless. And the Slayer gloves, 15% on the Dragon Slayer gloves. You have to be killing dragons. You only get 15% bonus XP, but you actually kill them over 15% slower by not using Barrows or Goliath gloves. So again, it's completely pointless. The whole of the Fist of Guthix rewards, just avoid it. Avoid the minigame as a whole. I imagine it's boring. I've never done it, but I've never seen anyone there. So just avoid Fist of Guppies.
Right, next up we've got the Zamrock's Favourite Potion, and this is really good. This gives you a 10% skill boost in Hunter whilst in the Herblore Habitat area. So if you're doing Draconic Jadinkos up to 99, getting this Hunter boost is definitely worthwhile, and I 100% recommend it.
Okay, so coming up next is a really common one in the forms of urns. Now, these give a 20% XP boost, so a really significant XP boost. And the brilliant thing about urns is you really don't have to do anything extra. All you do is buy the urns, add 1 rune into the urn. It's not expensive at all. It might take a few seconds to do, but literally definitely worth doing because, say, at mining, for example, if you're using mining urns, all you're doing is just filling urns, teleporting them away, and you get 20% bonus XP. Same with fishing. Wood cutting, obviously you can't use it on ivy because you're not actually cutting logs. Smithing only works for smelting, so there are some limitations to them, but stuff like the mining, fishing, cooking, they're really great. Now the prayer ones are quite unique. It involves the ashes, so say if you're killing like abyssal demons, they drop infernal ashes. What these will actually do will automatically pick up the infernal ashes, and once they're full, you can teleport them away for the full XP of the infernal ashes plus 20% bonus XP. So if you're not 99 prayer, it's actually a reasonable way to get some prayer XP whilst doing things like Slayer as well, so you can consider that one as an option. Okay, so in the members loyalty store, of course, you have the auras. So if you haven't spent all of your tokens on things like emotes and things, and you have a few spare tokens left, then what you can do is buy some skilling auras. Now, I've done actually a video on skilling auras. You'll know that you can get some really good increase in XP rates. Although it's not actually bonus XP, they increase gather rates on various skills, a lot of the gathering skills, which does increase your XP overall. There's actually also the Wisdom Aura, which you can buy. It's very expensive, however, and it will give you a 2.5% XP boost, but it only lasts for half an hour and has a 24-hour cooldown. Could be good for doing things like tree runs, because obviously you only do them once a day, so you can just activate it for that, save yourself a little bit of money, but it is a very expensive aura, so I wouldn't recommend that aura. However, all the other skilling auras are really, really great.
Next up, we've got Penance of Skill. Now, these come from the Scam of Fortune. They can come in a plus 100% or plus 200% boost. They affect any skill dependent on what the pendant is like specific in. So if it's a pendant of fishing, you've got to use it in the fishing skill. Now, they come on the Scam of Fortune. All it does is give you bonus XP while you do the skill as long as you wear the pendant. And that's all there is really to say.
Okay, next we've got the seasonal events. Now, some of these may not come every year, but we have seen stuff like the Hattie Paws come out 2 years in a row, and obviously this year they introduced the Hattie Boots as well, or the Skull Boots, should I say. And these give usually 100% bonus XP, so really, really good to use. The Hattie Paws are in things like combat. The boots were in either woodcutting or agility. We did also have like the Mad May necklace this year, 250k bonus XP in any skill of your choice. So things like that. Obviously, just make sure whatever it is you've got to do to participate, just whether it's like logging on every day or just making sure that your membership like runs through the whole of the month. If that's something you're going to do anyway, just make sure you do it because they are really, really useful. Or if it's participating in something like the Hattie event, consider the amount of XP you get. Like the Skull Boots were about 1 million XP for me in agility, saved me hours and hours of training. Definitely worth doing for just a couple of minutes of an event. Okay, so we know in this video that I'm sure there's going to be ones that we've completely missed out, and I'm sure you guys will let us know in the comments, but there are a few smaller ones that we'll get into. So things like the Sears headband, once you've unlocked that from the task diary, you will also get 10 XP on maple logs that you cut in Camelot. Now, cutting maple logs is very bad XP, and even with this 10 XP extra, really not worth doing, so completely pointless. Firelighters give 10 XP again on normal logs. Again, normal logs is terrible XP. I don't know why you'd ever do it, so completely useless. Herbal or habitat boosting potions. Now we talked about the Zamorak's Favor. That's very, very good. Now the Guthix one, I believe, gives bonus 10% bonus to Herbal or XP. However, you actually have to make the sort of the normal Juju potions, and you have to do it within Herbal or habitats. You have to teleport there, teleport back to the bank. Pain in the ass, not worth doing. Same with the Saradomin one. It's only with the farming there. It can be worth it if you've made a couple and you've got your tree patch there with a palm tree and that's something you can do it if you're really trying to save some cash. But again, catching the Saradomin Jadinkos, because you've got to find the combination to be able to catch them because it changes every week. Such a bitch, definitely not advisable. Now, the last is the Dwarven Army Axe. Now, you can go around the Troll Warzone area in Berthop and Taverley and unlock various XP boosts, but it's very, very minimal. It's only aimed at the very beginning, sort of early part of the game to newcoming members, so definitely just don't bother with that one.
And finally, we have the skill boost that you should be using anyway. The first of which is group bonfiring wherever possible. That means that if you're using the bonfire method of fire making, then you should do it as a group or where there are a group of people. That way you gain a slight amount of bonus XP depending on how many people are there, up to a cap. You should also be cooking on bonfires if you can. Now, I know sometimes it is good to, if you've done the Varrock Diary, to cook on the range inside the Cook's Guild. But if you cook on a bonfire, it will actually give you a slight bonus XP. And then finally, if you use a Pyre Lord when you're doing fire making in the Jadinko layer, it's actually gives bonus XP as well. So if you're going to fire make there instead of a bonfire and save yourself some money, then you should also be using a Pyre Lord there.
Okay guys, so with Mudmark just confirming that we wouldn't have any more bonus XP weekends in the future, we thought, well, it's a really good opportunity to give you guys some information on all those XP boosts that are out there that you can use to get yourself max more quickly. If you have found any of these useful, please throw us a thumbs up and we'll see you again soon.